Hello, everybody. Welcome. I wanted to stop by today to talk about something Jesus said. He said, watch and pray. Watch and pray. In one instance, he said, watch and pray that you fall not into temptation. I want to talk about that. Watch and pray. The sacred book, or the collection of writings that's much favored by the Eastern Church, is called the Philokalia. In there, some of the Desert Fathers talk about watchfulness. And I want to talk about what that is. Watch. Christ said, watch. Do you remember when you were a little child and things were happening, maybe at home, and you watched? You didn't understand what was going on. You wondered about it, but you watched. It's almost like when you see people watching a tennis match. You see them watching the ball go back and forth. Something like that. Your parents were arguing. You watched your mom and then your dad. You went to school and things were happening and you watched. Teacher said something, the principal said something, and the day went by and pretty soon it was time to go home and you rushed home so you could play. Watch. Well, that's something like what watchfulness is. You have to recapture that. Not being involved. See, in your lifetime, you have learned, you have been trained, you have been tricked, you have been seduced into getting involved in everything. And in school, they trick you into trying to figure things out. Now, it's okay to solve a math puzzle or to wonder about something that's happening in the world in biology or physics. That's okay. But you become accustomed to trying to figure everything out. He said this. Now, why did he say that? Well, maybe he's tired, or maybe he's angry, or maybe he didn't know what he was doing, or maybe he was talking to somebody else, or maybe he needs, see? And most people are like that. And you have to learn to go the opposite way. To not get involved. To just watch. That's all. And let it pass. Like when you were a little kid, there was a day, all kinds of stuff happened, and at the end of the day, you didn't remember what happened. At school, teacher said this, the principal said that. You don't remember. You don't know what was going on. It has to be something like that. But does that mean that you're kind of like dumb or no? See, my ideas, my insights, my understanding, my realizations, they come from within. See, maybe I see something and I wonder about it. And it doesn't mean that it has to be see no evil, hear no evil type of thing. You see somebody doing something wrong or foolish, and you see that it's wrong. You see that it's foolish, but you don't get involved. You don't give energy to it. You don't become resentful. You don't become angry. You don't feel sorry for them. You have no emotion whatsoever. You just notice they're doing something foolish. And that's all. Later, you might understand. I'm walking down the street. All of a sudden, I moved to the other side of the street. I don't know why. I just moved to the other side of the street. Well, maybe on the other side, the street I had been walking on, maybe suddenly there was something bad happening. And somehow it bypassed me. Do you understand? You have to go through life trusting in your intuition, trusting in your hunches, trusting your gut level knowing, trust your gut, and just watch. And if weird things are happening, don't try to figure it out. If somebody's trying to create an argument, Just let it go in one ear and out the other. See that they're not sincere. They're just trying to pull you into an argument. They want to get you upset and involved. They're good at that at school, and hypnotists are good at that. They say, imagine this, imagine that. And if you go along with it, then all of a sudden, you're lost in the scene in your mind. That's where they want you. They want you lost in a scene in your mind. They want you lost in emotions. They want you lost in images in your mind. And that way, you become unaware of what they're up to. You become involved in what they want you to be involved in, and meanwhile, they're picking your pocket. Do you understand? So you have to be very careful. The media is good at that too. They have a narrative of the day, or they have the event of the day, and there it is, but they want you involved. And they show you scenes. Often they're showing the same scene over and over. Have you ever noticed that? You go to every station, over and over. You go on the internet, over and over. It's always the same scene. Well, what's that all about? Well, just don't get involved. Don't let them get to you. Don't become angry. Don't become upset. See the confusion and don't become confused. See the upset and don't become upset. See the turmoil and don't have an inner turmoil. You have to be watchful. So now you see the meditation that I have is simply standing back. Take a mental step back. How many times have I told you that when you're talking to someone, all of a sudden you're getting into a little argument with them, you notice an argument is coming along, and then all of a sudden you take a mental step back and you say, hey, it's not that important. Don't worry about it. And then you both smile and you walk off as friends. You see what I mean? You go to Starbucks and have a coffee. Make it unimportant. Wait until you see what's going on. And wait until you realize. Wait until you intuitively move. Usually for most things, there's nothing for you to do. Just like when you were a little kid, there's nothing for you to do. The teacher said this and that, and this and that and everything. Same way. Now, quietly, you can do things, but it must be intuitive and not as a reaction. Do you understand? So that's watchfulness. So watchfulness is practicing my meditation 3 times a day. First thing in the morning and noon and evening. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in noon, 5 minutes in the evening. It just helps you. It helps you to stand back, to remember to stand back, to take a mental step back, to remember to be watchful. And then you go out in the world watchful, and you don't get so emotionally involved in things. You're calmer. But when you're calmer, then reason rules, wisdom rules, patience. So watchfulness is also patience. Not jumping to conclusions, not rushing in. You got to watch out. Mostly you don't get involved. Mostly you stand back. A lot of times things resolve themselves. A lot of times when people are creating some drama, just see it as if they were actors on a stage. Actors on a stage. But don't get too interested in it. See, that's the other thing. Don't get too interested in it. Just let it go. Walk off. Do your work. See God's wonderful earth and the plants and the flowers and the sky, and be with your family. And when your family is emotional, don't get emotionally involved. You have to be calm. The more emotional they are, the calmer you are. The more unreasonable they are, the more reasonable you are. Do you understand? That's watchfulness. Stand back and watch. Now, Christ told us to be watchful. Don't get distracted. Don't get pulled in. Don't become emotional. Stand back. Resist not evil, he said. In other words, resent not evil. Don't give your energy. Wait and watch. And then If something is required, you can flow with a different energy. So there's watch. And then pray. So what is pray then? Pray is simply wondering about things, inquiring of God. Wordlessly, it doesn't have to be wordy. It's better off if you don't use words. Just inquire of God. So your prayer, your inquiry is upward. You're not trying to delve down into your mind to figure something out. You're not reaching out to ask people, well, why this and why that, and why did he say this and why did she do that? You stand back and then you inquire of God. You wonder. And if an answer is needed, then you will get the answer at the proper time. All of a sudden you'll just see, oh, I see. See? Very good. It's very important. The answer will come. Somehow the answer will come when you least expect it. And you're safe. So prayer is in inquiring of God or asking him. You see? So it's directed upward. And for the world, you watch. You stand back and you watch. Have you ever seen a really good grandma and the children are playing and she watches? The children are safe. But does she get involved? Let's say they're having a little argument. The kids are having a little argument. No. Well, she doesn't become a participant. She may be a referee. She may say, well, now, wait a minute, what's going on here? See? But mostly she just watches them play. She just loves sitting there and watching them play and all the cute little things that they do. See? And they grow. Mysteriously, they grow. They learn. They develop. All these wonderful things happen under the watchfulness of the good grandma. You understand? So it's something like that. Watch. And pray. You see? But now, see, the thing about prayer, sometimes our prayers are not effective because we're going about them wrong. We're delving down into see, the other thing where you can get involved and pulled in, even more so than with the turmoil and the drama that other people create, is in your own mind. Thoughts rise up to distract you, to confuse you, to mislead you. And you drift away with that thinking and you think it's your very own thinking, but it's really not your very own thinking. It pulls you in and you get lost in thinking about this and planning and scheming that. So you have to learn to stand back from that also. Stand back. But you see the problem with wordy prayers, I'm not against people saying wordy prayers. I'm not against it. But if you dig down into your thoughts and come up with words, well, the words might be coming from the wrong source. Okay? And so they're false. They kind of they ring hollow. And it's what God really likes is when you remember him and you inquire of him. You wonder, you inquire, or you ask wordlessly. Then, like the good Father, he answers. He answers. And here comes something wonderful. Or here comes a solution. Like out of nowhere. How does that happen? You see? So, and be patient. When you see something going on and you think you have to solve it, you think you have to get involved, you think you have to do something, do you see that that's impatience? Watch. See, that watchfulness has an element of patience in it, doesn't it? It's waiting without anxiety for the answer that you know will come. See? Or a lot of times it doesn't involve you. With your children, sometimes you have to be the referee or you have to offer them some counsel, of course. But when it comes to other people, mostly you don't have a responsibility for them. Yeah, not hurt them, not lie to them, not steal from them. But when it comes to other people, you don't have a responsibility to get involved in a good way, like you do with your parents. Yeah, once in a while. See, you just by your very bearing, by the way you are, your calmness, the twinkle in your eye, you set a good example for them. And they come to know that you're your own person, and if they come with something that's not appropriate, you'll say, no, thank you. So before they ask you, they start to think, well, should I ask him? No, I guess not. Not because they're afraid of you, not because they think you'll get angry or anything like that, but they know you will wish them to do what they're supposed to do first. So before they start bothering you, they will think, well, I guess I could do it myself. So now do you understand how you can go out into the world? See, Christ wasn't a recluse. Yes, early in the morning he would go off by himself. But then he was out in the world with people. And they brought all their stuff to him. And he helped them. But always he looked to the Father for what he was to do, what he was to say. He looked to the Father. So he prayed without ceasing, didn't he? And he didn't judge. See, watchfulness means also not judging. Judging is adding a pinch of resentment or a pinch of condemnation, puffing up a little bit, feeling superior, that sort of thing. So if somebody errs, then just see that they erred. And like that. But he helped people. But when he helped them, it was a good help. It wasn't meddling. It wasn't a worldly help. It was from above, operating through him because he was watchful and because he prayed continuously to God. But he was out in the world, see. So you need to be watchful. You need to practice the meditation so you can go out in the world and be a mom or a dad or a student or whatever you are. That way you won't have to hide. See, the reason we hide is because we can't deal with what's there. You're not watchful. Instead, you're upset, angry, nervous. It gets inside. Then you think about it. And so then you avoid, or you're a people pleaser, or you push everything under the rug, or you try not to offend, you try not to rock the boat, and that is also tiring. And so you end up watching in a bad way. Every little thing that people say and do, so you can tailor your response to it. No! Just spontaneously go out in the world like a little child. See what there is to see. And take a mental step back. And that's in certain moments, especially with your loved ones, your children or your partner, you pause and you inquire wordlessly. And then what to say or what to do comes to you. And if nothing comes to you, then there's nothing to say. You understand? Nothing to do. Watchfulness. Christ told us to watch and pray.